Hi Aslam class, welcome to another video, your English lesson on Wednesday, the 24th of February 2021. So today's lesson, yesterday's lesson we started looking at a graphic novel, and you should have started, just explaining the difference between a graphic novel and a comic book. And then we were looking also at the key vocabulary that is going to be coming up in this topic this half term. So well done to all your work that you've done. It was really good to see all your ideas coming through on Tapestry. So well done, keep up all the good work. Okay, I need to share my screen with you so we can go on to today's lesson. Today's lesson, we are looking at the features of a graphic novel. So you get a better understanding of what a graphic novel is all about. So that will help you, obviously, when it comes to doing your own graphic novels. All right, so let's get going. So, get to know your graphic novel. Here we have, on the left-hand side of your screen, we have a page features. And these are all the features that you'll see on a page in a graphic novel. On the right-hand side, we have an example of the graphic novel that you can look at. So the page features that we will be discussing today are panels, frames, gutters, speech and thought bubbles, captions, and onomatopoeia. So panels, this is what we call each kind of frame that we are drawing our picture in. And it doesn't always have to be a square. This one here we can see is a different shape. Sometimes they can be circles. They don't have to be a rectangle or a square, but usually they are, because it looks a little bit more uniform and easier for the reader to read. So the panels are where the pictures go, okay? And you can see on this page, we have a total of 8 panels. The frames, okay, the frames are actually the actual lines going around the panel. Okay, so the panel is where the picture goes inside the frame, okay, and the frame is the outside. Gutters. There is a little space in between each frame and each panel. There should be a little gap, okay, and we call that a gutter. Speech and thought bubbles. So in our comics, when the characters are speaking to each other, they will speak using, and you can tell they're speaking because it is a speech bubble. And that's normally, they have like it comes from the mouth, okay? You can also have speech thought bubbles. And thought bubbles are where you get them little circles, and they normally come out of the person's head, and then they, whatever's written in there is what they're thinking, not what they're saying. We also have captions. Okay, sometimes it helps just for the person reading the graphic novel to have a bit of reading to see what's actually going on. And then onomatopoeia are words that are used that sound like the sound that they're supposed to be making, like bang, crash, wallop, smash. Yeah? And in this case, we've got rattle. So here we have a look at another graphic novel. We can see here at the top, we've got our caption. We've got our panel surrounded by its frame. We've got a gutter going down the middle here. Here is what I mean about thought balloon. See how it circles, okay? And then this dialogue is more of there's like a triangle pointy bit there. So we know that that's speech. And then we've got our onomatopoeia here, rumble, as this person is trying to climb up the cliff. So let's go through each of these features in a little bit more detail. So a panel is a box that contains the story. Panels are arranged from left to right, top to bottom, and that's how you would read it. You start at the top and you go left to right. When you get to the end of the page, you go down, back to the left, to the right. So we read left to right, top to bottom. The gutter is the space in between the panels. You can see this here very clearly. Word balloons and thought bubbles contain dialogue or thoughts that the characters are thinking or saying in the story. And you can see here in our picture that they're all speaking to each other. A caption box. It's a rectangular box at the top or the bottom of a panel. And it is used in a narrative style. So it's kind of like telling us what's going on. It helps the reader understand the story a bit better because pictures can sometimes be quite hard to interpret. But there we are. And you can see the panels here at the bottom, sorry, the captions here at the bottom here. Okay. telling us what's going on in the picture. Now, onomatopoeia are words that imitate a sound or sounds like the sound that they're making. Crash, boom, pow, pow, boom. Yeah, these are all words that are used to describe what sounds actually sound like. So how do you read it? So we read the panels from left to right, and then we go top to bottom. We read items inside each panel the same way. So once we've got to a panel, we read from top to bottom, left to right. So here we go bottom and left to right. So read from the top to bottom and left to right. And how to read a graphic novel page is exactly the same. We read from left to right and then go back to the next line. So you can see here, we start at the top in this image here, and then we go across, and then we go back down to the next line of pictures, back down to the next line of pictures, and then back down to the next line of pictures. Just like reading a book. You read from left to right, top to bottom in a book. It's exactly the same for a graphic novel. Now, actions of a characters change from frame to frame. Okay, and you can see here in our pictures here that they're having a little bit of a sword fight, having a battle, and you can see that in each picture there's just a little change of what's going on. It takes place over a shorter period of time, these images, okay? So whereas sometimes in comic strips, they can jump time quite significantly, in graphic novels, time seems to go on a little bit longer. And often used in fights or chase scenes for them shorter images. Now remember, graphic novels show the story rather than tell you. Take your time and study the illustrations carefully. So when looking at graphic novels, at first glance, this is what we see. We see the panels, we see the gutters, we see the frames, we see the speech bubbles and thoughts, we see the onomatopoeia, we see the caption box. That's what we can see just by looking at it, okay? And when I look at this graphic novel here, when I open it up, I can just see straight away, here we are. I can see the different panels. I can see the speech marks. I can see the captions at the bottom. There isn't any onomatopoeia on that page, but there are, you can see the features there. But what actually is the graphic novel about? Okay, so we need to look what goes into the actual graphic story. Now, graphic novels are normally about adventure stories, so that's what we're going to look into. Now, adventure stories are types of narrative in which a quiet protagonist embarks on some sort of journey or quest. Protagonist means our main character. They're going on a journey, okay? Maybe they're going to find treasure, or maybe they're going to hunt pirates, or maybe they're looking for a lost relic of some sort. Now, they have to overcome, the main character have to overcome many challenges and many difficulties. There is often some kind of villain as well that the person must defeat. And our adventure stories can contain lots of action. Some sections are really fast paced, while some sections slow it down and become more descriptive. Most of them are told in chronological order, but you can put flashbacks into them as well, so you can jiggle around the time. And they're often written in the past tense. However, this is graphic noveling. So we take all of this and we put it into pictures, okay, rather than writing. We will still use some of these features when it comes to language, because obviously the dialogue is going to help move the action on. And that is very, very key when it comes to graphic novels, because a lot of your writing is going to be people speaking. So what they're saying has to move the story on. It can't just be like, oh, the Pharaoh says, oh, I want a cup of tea. Okay, get me a cup of tea. But no. It'd be like the Pharaoh could say, why is my pyramid not being built? Because we don't have enough workers. And we need to get some more workers. But we don't have enough gold. Then go off and find some gold. And then the person goes off and finds some gold. So the dialogue has to be purposeful and it has to move the story along. Now, all of this stuff, there's a lot to read here. You can pause the video and read it. But I'm going to put all of these in a Word document, and it will be up on our Teams page for today's lesson. It will be lesson number 3 of this week for English. Just have a look at all of this, and you can look at it at your own leisure, because there is a lot of reading there to do. So think about the setting, think about the characters that you're going to be having, And is there going to be a quest in your story? Now, we normally use story mountings. I have my reservations about story mountings, but they're quite good for a starting block to sort of plan out your kind of writing. But again, you're doing it as a graphic novel, not as writing. So for today, okay, that was just a bit of information just to help you what goes into an adventure story. And I'll put all that up onto Teams, onto the site, so you can just download a copy and read it at your own pleasure. Now, tasks for today. You need to label the features of a graphic novel in the panels below, and this will be also in the text as well, in the resources page on our Teams. Create a toolkit for graphic novels for task 2. And for task 3, if you want to push yourself, explain what each of the features in a graphic novel is used for. So this is what you're going to do for task 1. This picture here and this picture here, okay, what I would like you to do is to label it with all the features of a graphic novel. And then you can create your toolkit and then explain what features are used for. Right, guys. Hope that's all self-explanatory. As always, if you've got any questions, please try the Teams. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Good luck, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.